Kia ora, everybody. Welcome to today's Creative Communities Assessment Committee meeting for Tuesday, 30th of September 2024. I've received apologies from Sue James. So I'd just like to resolve that we move that. Does anybody like to move it? Alison, seconded. Karis? All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. I'm going to assume that everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting on the 30th of April. So can I just get a mover that they're a true and correct record? Oh, I think Kim's hand was up first, but you can be seconded if you like. Yep. So moved by Kim, seconded by Karis. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. All right. Notifications of late items. We have received an application for a new member of the committee, and this is going to be put in as a late public excluded item. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Oh, sorry. The application received for the vacant position as an assessor of the Creative Communities Assessment Committee be accepted as a late item due to the committee not meeting for a further 6 months. Mover, Alison. Seconder, Colin. All those in favour, aye. Against? It is carried. Okay, declarations of interest. There were no declarations of interest on any of the applications that came on in. Just anybody want to declare declaration of interest? No, we're all good. Okay. And so we've got Eris presenting affordable art. So welcome along, Eris. Thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Shall I start?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I realise that we have applied for a hefty amount this time. Crikey. And I thought, okay, I could split this up and apply for each individual type of art class. But the reality is we're still going to be asking for the same amount in total at the end of the day. So I put it all together. You guys can let me know what to do next time if it's better the other way. Essentially, our art classes are growing, and I, of course, am here to tell you how fabulously awesome we are and how awesome our art teachers are. They are different to other art classes, and we've done that on purpose. Our focus for a while there was to complement, to a certain extent, what was happening, other art that was available in town at the time. So that was Joe's classes mostly, but anybody else that was doing it as well. And so the complement was that we would have classes that were about exploring and learning to use materials and building on individual interests and more inclusive and more affordable so that we could kind of get that different group of people coming in. So we've continued with that, and they are going very, very well, in my opinion. We have quite a number on our waiting lists, and now with Joe closing his class, we have a huge number on our waiting lists. So we have been, and we were already looking at how we were going to have to add some more classes in anyway. But we've had a big review of how our classes run and what our focus is, which, like as I've said, is to be more inclusive and so we are expanding, hopefully, how many classes we have so that we can cover more ground. But we're also adding in a few extra things. We want to create more of a community with our art classes. So we have recognised that students come along after school and they are tired. And so we are adding in a little bit of a snack for them if we can. That will come out of their fees, because I realise you guys don't fund that, I don't think. So that comes out of the fee. The art materials, which you guys would fund, also comes out of the fee at this point. And we are going to be decreasing the length of the younger group because they don't quite make it through anyway. We do quite long classes. They're an hour and a half. And the reason for that is we allow that kind of warm up, that set up time, and then we also have that pack up, clean up time, which is really important that all of the kids appreciate the care of the materials and looking after their environment. But we want to create more of a community around that, where we're going to start getting families involved a bit more as well, coming in perhaps once a term to do a big cleanup mission on the art rooms and things like that with us. We've already actually had some volunteer to come in and help out like that, which is really cool. So I guess at the end of the day, I am justifying the extra classes and hoping that you guys can help us out there a little bit. If it's not funded, we will just go back to where we were before with running the classes that we had, and we'll come up with ways to, well, not this term, but next term, we'll just come up with some other way that we can try and expand, which is not easy, but we have to come up with something. Something we don't want to do is increase the class fee, because as soon as we increase that too much, we are excluding families that would benefit from this. And I think something we noticed, we did increase the fee a little bit in term 2 when our funding was a bit lower. And the families that have multiple children were the first to drop out. They couldn't make it to those classes. And sadly, those are the groups, those are the students that we want to try and have in there. So we're going to bring in a family fee. So they will be capped at $50 per student, so that is more accessible for those groups. It's going to mean that our funding or our base rate that we have coming in is a little bit less, but that's just what we need to do. So the increase for the rest of our classes will probably have to go up to $75 per student. And hopefully we are still inclusive enough. That's less than $10 per class. So that would hopefully keep our numbers, not the numbers that I'm worried about, but more the accessibility there. But of course, what I'm saying is that we can't keep increasing our fees to increase the classes, because otherwise we're going to lose the whole point of the classes, which is the inclusive aspect of it. Just to, I guess, show how awesome we are as well, we have developed our classes a little bit. We actually have an assessment matrix now for our classes. Our classes are not based upon beautiful pictures at the end of the day. Our parents don't expect the students to come home with masterpieces, although we call each and every work a masterpiece. But our classes are actually more focused on lifelong learning and building or supporting that interest. Our matrix is around assessing that foundational knowledge and experience, which is basically exposure to materials and exposure to techniques and exposure to new or other resources. So it's what they're doing, it's the process, it's not about the outcome. And then experimentation is a big one as well, which, oh my God, sometimes they want to experiment in the most extreme ways. In fact, I did have a group, and it happened to be a small group that day, that wanted to paint with their feet. We had a go. I told them it would be a one-off, and it was. It would be. But it was still good. Very interesting. But we do need to kind of be able to explore these things. This is something they can't do at home. They're definitely never going to get to do it at school. It's something that interested them. They wanted to see what they could create with the movements of their feet. That actually was based on movement. It was quite cool. They wanted to dance and see what the movements were from the paint on their feet. It was cool. It was a great activity, just not very manageable with a large group. So luckily it was a small group that day, and I don't know if I'll ever do that again, but we'll just see how we go. They'd have to convince me. They do well at convincing me. So individualized projects is something that we focus on. So if we have a student or a group of students that want to just go in their own direction, then we support that. So we have a direction that we go in, and we allow that to be railroaded, perhaps you could call it. Some students like to work by themselves. We have a lot of students that are individual not so much team orientated. So we support them in their learning as they are experimenting for themselves, and we have to manage that. Sometimes we can have quite intense classes because of this, but we actually want to focus on getting those students as well, and we need to make it accessible for them because those students are the ones that don't fit in many other groups and actually get turned away from other groups because they're just hard to handle. So we want to keep them coming. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Yeah. How about I leave it there and you guys can ask me some questions.
Thank you, Karis. I'll open it up to questions from anybody. Yep, Karis.
Do you have any testimonials from parents or feedback to support the approach that you've described?
Yes, it's probably part of the reason why we are going down that road, but I don't have anything in writing, which is why I didn't attach anything to the document. It's all verbal. I do have, so we don't ask parents about their children's learning needs or special needs or anything like that. However, they do come to us. We have more recently had a few recognise ADHD and autism within our group. Probably a good 3 or 4 of them have actually acknowledged the diagnosis, which is pretty cool. And those parents, the reason we know that is because those parents have come to us and expressed their gratitude about the art classes and how they've complemented and worked with the needs of the individuals, which is pretty cool. So all verbal, but not written.
Anybody else?
If you're, if the question about, what would be some of the options that you would look at?
Do you know what? I am stuck on that.
Oh, sorry.
I appreciate, but I'm trying to work out what we would do because I think this growth is inevitable and we can't keep asking you guys to fund it in this way. We can't increase our fees because that would just, as I say, be not the point. So I don't know, really. We're going to, if you fund what you normally fund, which is lovely, we would go back to running the classes like we did last term. So there will be something, and that's cool. How on earth, whether I break this up into 4 or 5 different applications and try that way, I don't know. How we're going to do it, I don't know. There's not many funding pools that cover either a whole year of art classes or every term of art classes. There's not many. We have one other that we ask regularly as well at this point. And yeah, I don't have a very good answer to that yet. Working on it.
The budding artists and the emerging creatives twice a week, and I know that's amazing. And I suppose the engagement part will probably take out most of the time.
It would be different
as opposed
students.
to one. Oh,
Yeah, different students in each class.
each class, got you.
So that we would be able to cater to more students.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
This is more of my interest more than anything, but has there been any thought to partnering with schools, like in terms of potentially getting some funding out of them? Like, I know that they probably keep it in-house, but is there any movement there potentially?
It was a funding pool that schools had, and it's no longer available.
Okay.
So that could have been an option, but it's don't think that's happening anymore.
Yeah, Alison.
Thank you. Very thorough application. My comments really just trying to be helpful. If the funding applications we've got today is the amounts requested is a lot more than what we've got available. I was just wondering if you do for the classes, have you tried any third-party funders? Because I was actually thinking that right across the road from you, the Drovers is New Zealand Community Trust, I think. So you couldn't get any closer than that for physical location, and it's for the children.
Go door knocking.
Mhm.
Good idea.
Cool. I think that's everybody. No more questions. Thank you very much. Really
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time.
Cheers for that, guys.
And yeah, we'll obviously deliberate today and we will have a result to you probably within the
fun.
next couple of weeks. Awesome.
Appreciate the
Thank you.
great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. So are we just waiting on Sarah and Ed? Okay, cool.
What's the Wi-Fi password, Janine?
NDC East. That's capital NDCG.
Thank you.
Thank you. Changed it.
Did you say all uppercase?
No, NDCG.
Thank you. Oh. I actually just remembered a question. I was going to ask you.
Kia ora.
Did they get a walk?
Hello, how are we?
Not bad. How are you? All right, Sarah and Evan, thank you very much for coming along.
Shouldn't we stop that?
So we've got about 10 minutes to present, but I think we've got a lighter schedule today. So if you go a little bit over, that's fine. But yeah, we'll have some questions at the end for you. So
Okay,
fire away.
great. Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us here today. I don't know how much you've read from the application, but yeah, we're looking to bring in a performing arts show as part of the Fielding Christmas parade and carnival. And this has sort of come about wanting to offer a bit more of a wow factor to the day, something that will help bring the crowds in, something that they can engage and participate in. We often get feedback that it's easy to get the crowds into the parade, but getting them into town pre the parade and after the parade is a little bit harder. And at FTP we sat down and worked out ways that we can bring people into town earlier and get them to stay in afterwards. There's a lot of carnival activities that happen, but they're all at a small cost to the individual. So bringing in something like this, we feel will add a bit of a wow factor and help bring those crowds in. We have gone outside the region to look for a performing arts group, and these guys have come very, very highly recommended from their references that we've looked at. They bring in the thousands, and we aim to do it twice so that we can get the pre and post engagement. Yeah, and that's sort of pretty much where kind of the whole idea around it. I don't know if anyone has got any other questions that was put into the application.
Cool. Love it. Any questions from anybody? Yeah, Karis?
Thank you, Sarah, for your application. I wonder if you're able to give a little bit more detail on the individual performers. Obviously, you're outsourcing to Colossal, and you reference sort of the quality of the performers. But do you know who they are going to be yet? Do you have any insight into the credentials of the individuals, or do you just rely on Colossal to?
Yeah, no, I don't know the individuals. I have just relied on Colossal, and also being in consultation with our neighbours, Rangitikei Council, who are also looking to bring them into their event at the same time. So it's kind of being a recommendation from the neighbours as well. As we have investigated them in the past as well, but the cost of it has just been too expensive. So we are very much relying on their recommendation. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, Alison?
Thank you. Have you got the free buses arrangement with Horizons this year where people will be coming over from?
Absolutely on the plan. Yes, yeah,
So the
yeah.
timing of the buses will allow fit round. It's one
Yes,
of
yeah,
these
yeah,
big
yeah.
ones.
We'll get them into town by 10:30. Yeah, and leaving at 4 so that they get to experience the whole day. Obviously the steam train has been something that's been done in the past, but with the a few technical issues with the steam trains, they're not possible. So
It's
we
coming.
yeah, fingers crossed. The buses is something we introduced last year, and it wasn't hugely used, but we plan to do it again this year, just to kind of get a bit of a regular happening. So that'll be the orbiter around town as well as from Palmy to Palmy to Fielding. Yeah.
Anybody else? I saw in the application that you're anticipating about 6,000 people to view the performances
Mhm.
or at the carnival itself. Like, how do you quantify that? Because obviously it's not a ticketed event, so
Mm.
I don't imagine somebody's going around counting heads or anything like that.
Well, we could find someone to do that job, no?
That sounds horrendous.
Yeah, yeah. It is a really hard one
Yeah.
because it is a non-ticketed event. But sort of over the years, we have through photography and videoing, we've kind of looked at the event brings in around about the 10,000
Mhm.
for the whole day. So yeah, 6,000 was kind of probably across two performances, one at 11 and one at 3. You'd be capturing around the 2,000 to 3,000 mark for each of those performances.
Awesome.
Mm.
Cool. I think that's it from us. Unless anybody else got any other questions? No, we're good. Thank you very much. We will deliberate today and we will have an answer for you in the next couple of weeks or so.
Okay,
But yeah, thank you very much for your application. It was a really good application and yeah.
excellent.
Good on you for trying something different.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll bring in the crowds and make them stay, not just for the parade, but for more. But it'll keep the stallholders and the retailers happy as well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Now we've got Ravinda online. Okay, cool.
So we'll need to put our microphones on, otherwise
Yep.
they won't be able to hear.
Will they just speak when they're ready? Will they just speak? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah.
It's not beauty that, so she's probably just waiting.
Are we running it ahead of time, are we?
Mm.
Are we? Oh, I thought we were well behind.
Give us a few minutes at the start.
Oh, yeah,
Do your formality things.
yeah,
What would Furious was you there?
yeah. So what time is Ravinda supposed to be online at? What time is Ravinda supposed to be online at?
It was 9:30, wasn't it?
Oh, okay, oh, sweet, we're pretty much there. What's that? That's all right.
Anything where we have like submissions and stuff, we get gaps.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you allow people to get time and then there's no pressure on them, it just means you're twiddling your fingers. You don't
I'm just not used to sitting in silence.
have to sit in silence. Yeah, but he's not unmuted.
Oh,
cool. Yeah, Matt's on mute.
Kia ora, Ravinda. You're on mute at the moment. Oh, there you go.
Kia ora. Morning all.
Morning.
Morena.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Yeah, you've got about 10 minutes to do your presentation. If you leave some time at the end for some questions, that'd be great. But yeah, we're happy to have you here.
Pleasure. Well, thank you so much for having me and for all your time as well. So I'll start again, just bear with me while I understand the forum and the way it needs to be delivered. Would you like me to go through the application itself or manage it by exception?
No, if you just speak generally, so like we've read your application, so basically if there's anything that you want to bring up in terms of things that weren't necessarily in it or things that you want to really highlight, yeah, this is kind of your sort of elevator pitch to get us to fund it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that opportunity. So the funding request that we've made is for the celebration of the Festival of Lights, which is what the application covers in detail. This is our second go at it. We did the same Festival of Lights last year as well, and that was so well received. We were absolutely surprised at the response that we had. We had close to 4,000 plus people who attended the event. And we had multiple performances, local artist performances at the event as well. And at the back of a successful event, we came back and we had so much support and with people asking, you know, when are we doing it again this year? So yeah, just bringing it back to Manawatu. A little bit about us as an organisation that I would like to put forward as well as so we're Bharatiya Samaj Lower North Island Trust. We have been operating in New Zealand for good 29 years, and we do have multiple branches that run across New Zealand. The one that I'm representing or that I look after is Lower North Island. We predominantly operate in the Manawatu and Wellington region. We love Manawatu for all reasons justified. Why wouldn't you? And we have families that are part of and volunteers that are part of our organisation out of Manawatu as well. And that's where we've been doing a lot of work along with the council as well as along with the local community members in the region. And that's, and like I said, I'm very passionate about this event itself, and I can talk about it till the cows come home. But I'm sure you guys might have some questions for me. But like all I can say is it is a festival that brings the community together. It is about diversity. It is about inclusion. It is about bringing, sharing the knowledge about culture, but in a way that it is relatable for everybody. And that's what Diwali is all about. It is about, kind of bringing people together, taking, we call it the win of light over over darkness, which is, we should all aim to be happy and take the sadness away, and that's what it resignates as well. We've been working on this for a good 6 to 8 months, and aim to put up a good show, should I say, a good festival for our community.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that presentation. I'll open it up to committee members to have ask you a question. So has anybody got any questions? Alison?
Morena, I did go to last year's festival and it totally exceeded my expectations. So well done. Now, we are in a position today where we've had more funding requests and we've got funding available. If we weren't able to give you the full amount requested, what would you need to trim down in the show to make it work?
So that's a good question. So we are coming in obviously with an expectation that the creative communities will be able to assist us. I do know that it is a big amount that's put on the table. But before I go in there, thank you so much for attending our event. That's actually music to our ears always when we get some feedback of that sort. So thank you. So what we are reaching out to local sponsors. We are also reaching out to other funders. So we still aim to continue to do so, and try and put the best we can with what we have and what we get.
Anybody else? Karis?
Thank you, Ravinder, for your application. I was very disappointed when I missed out on the Diwali festival last year, so I'm pleased that it's happening again. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about what the performances will be like this year.
Absolutely. So what we intend to do is we wanted to give a platform to the local community members, and that's from schools to individuals who want to perform. So we've got a set of 18 performances across the time that we have at the moment. So we start with the whole karakia, moving into kapa haka. We have it's a very mixed bag, which is what we love promoting, because again it is you've got to cater for the community, and it's a very diverse community in Manawatu, which is why we love operating in the region as well. So just to list a few. So we'll have traditional as well as Bollywood music, but we also have Cambodian dance, for example. So we have a very good mixed bag of 18 performances that we've coordinated, and they are really eager. Some of them are the ones who've come in from last time, because again they loved being on the stage and they loved performing for us. And then there's some new addition to it as well. So yeah, well, I'll keep a little bit of that as a surprise, because I'm hoping you'll come in and we will be able to do it, surprise you, like I say.
Thank you, Ravinder.
Awesome. Any more questions? No, just a comment from me. Having run a few festivals myself now, and not on the scale of what you run, I'd like to commend you for the application and also for the work that goes into it. I know that it's a lot of tireless work, and sometimes there's not the appreciation at the end of it. But yeah, no, you're doing an awesome job. So thank you very much for your presentation and answering those questions. We will deliberate later on today, and then we'll have a decision in the next couple of weeks or so.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. Really appreciate it, and look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Kia ora. Ka kite.
Yep. Good. Yeah, Huanui, and then Kimbolton.
Good morning.
Oh, morning. Tracy, is it?
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
hi.
Camera's off, Tracy.
Yeah, I'm just turning it on now. I'm in my car. One of those days, but that's all good.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tracy. You got about 10 minutes for your presentation. So if you leave just enough time at the end for us to ask any questions, but yeah, by all means, fire away when you're ready.
Great, thank you, and thanks for hearing us today. So I'm Tracy. I'm from the Hiwanui Community Committee. This is our second submission. So would I be right in saying that everyone's already reviewed our first submission, which wasn't successful? It's the same panel of people there at the council?
Yep.
Great. Okay, I won't go into too much detail, and we've provided a bit more information, and Janine's also given us some feedback about how I needed to maybe make some of the things a bit more clear and in terms of what we're aiming to achieve. So our Hiwanui history boards, we do want to show the history of Hiwanui. We are looking at using Hiwanui school students to create the visual artwork that we want to put on these boards. Year 7 and 8 students predominantly being the older students at that school. Our focus is really on visual arts to create a visual story of our Hiwanui history around our Hiwanui War Memorial. We think that there's a lot of information out there online, in books, etc. But we think that having a visual art piece installed around the Hiwanui War Memorial will draw in the community to read more about our history, which can sometimes, I think if it's in books or online, just get hidden unless you go searching for it. So the location that it's going in is out basically on the intersection of Reed Line East and Watershed Road. So that's really the hub of our community, as is Hiwanui School. And we think that if people are walking by there, this will be the start of what we hope to create in Hiwanui, which is a number of history boards that connect our community, and show our story. At our last meeting, we were really fortunate. Colin came and talked to us afterwards, and I understand you're there, Colin.
Correct. Correct.
Great. And we do have I'd say a loose agreement that Colin, via his GenQuip company, will fund the artwork side of our Hiwanui War Memorial. And as you can see, our current application is to install seating and the posts that the artwork will be installed on. And if Colin's happy for funding to be repurposed so that the artworks can be funded out of this grant application that we're making for $800, then that's what we'd look to repurpose this grant for. In terms of how the artwork's going to be produced, again, Colin's been really supportive in using the community hub, using the computers and the software down there, and his wife, Virginia, can run a course for our students so that we've got that connection into the Manawatu District Council, and also using the new community hub that's down there. So that's really the guts of our presentation. And I've got about 5 minutes for questions, so happy to answer whatever you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I'll open it up to questions. So anybody want to start? Oh, hang on, Karis. Yep, Karis has got one.
Thank you, Tracy, for providing a bit more information and context around your application. When it comes to developing the artworks that you described, I guess how much creative freedom are the students going to have? Are they sort of going to be working to a brief? Will they be directly responding to the history? I guess, yeah, are you able to talk through the process of making those artworks a little bit more?
Sure. So we're going to be engaging with our Hiwanui School principal, Erin Wheeler, who's also part of our community committee. So there will be teacher involvement to make sure that the scope is kept on task. There will be a bit of research involved, which will be researching documents online, researching the soldiers who served, the ones that died and the ones that came back, the ones that are still within our community. So that's the research side. In terms of the visual arts side of the house, they will again be doing research to find photos and also connect with photos of the area and any other imagery that they can find. So we do want it to be student-led, but we will have teacher overview, as you'd expect in any project, to keep them on task and to keep them on the right direction so that we get a really good product at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments? I've got one. In terms of the creation of the artwork, so obviously it's being student-led, but will they be doing the design elements as well? And if so, what programs and systems would they be using?
So that would be largely created at the community hub and supported by Virginia. So I don't know what sort of systems, if I'm being honest, but it would be some sort of design. Yeah, it's not really my forte.
Yeah.
But I think that whole process at the community hub will be the students having done their research, having come up with a whole lot of ideas and probably visual picture boards that they're going to turn up with, and then they'll be taken through a digital process to transfer that imagery and those ideas into something that we'll be able to put on history boards. So that's generally how I see it happening as to what sort of programs that they're using. I don't know.
Yep, no, that's good.
I could probably answer that, Mr. Chairman. It will be through the Makerspace community hub.
Okay.
But yeah.
Awesome. Any other comments or questions? No, looks like you're all good now. Thank you so much for joining in with us. And yeah, we'll deliberate today, and then we'll take we'll have a decision in a couple of weeks' time or so.
That's awesome. Thanks for the flexibility of letting me zoom in. That's I wouldn't have made it there today, unfortunately. So I really appreciate the time.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yes, to for the record, you probably should declare an interest in this application.
Yeah, because I thought it was off the table at the start of the meeting. It was off the table. Now it's on the table.
Okay. No. Yep. No, that's all good.
Actually, not being off, but didn't release.
Kia ora, Tony.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How's everybody?
Feels like spring.
It does. It's beautiful out there, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. So, okay. So, thank you for inviting me to present this to you today. This is our current team. Organised, well, trustees of the Milton Arts and Sculpture Trust. Okay, the festival is all about strengthening local communities, showcasing rural creativity and community, promoting and celebrating art and sculptures, and encouraging local people to become active in creating. This is our vision. It encapsulates our aims and goals. The festival is a unique event which focuses on the creation of sculptures based on a rural theme. We also recognise that mental health issues in rural areas are way too high, and so are encouraging farmers in particular to head out to their workshops, forget about their problems for a while, and have a go at creating a sculpture from bits and pieces they find on their farms. In doing so, not only does their mental health and wellbeing improve, but their community health and wellbeing also benefits. International studies show that creating art has a significant impact on improving the mental health and wellbeing of the artists as well as the community. The festival aims to improve an appreciation of art and creativity in the community and to attract a wide range of visitors from throughout New Zealand with a vibrant and exciting event. Our long-term aim is to create a sculpture trail from Mangaweka to Cheltenham, which will attract visitors to travel the alternative country road through to Fielding. After last festival in 2023, we surveyed the sculptors, asking them how the creation of sculptures has affected their lives. This is Leslie's story, or summary of it. It was a long story. Our festival is focused on the creativity of ordinary people, children's interactive activities, including making sculptures and fun rural activities, demonstrations of art and sculpture creation, heritage schools and crafts, local music talent, as well as all-day family entertainment. This is the statistics from 2023. Our aim is to increase the sculpture entries, art exhibitors and visitor attendance at each festival. And lastly, sculptors come from most parts of the country, with the majority of our visitors coming from the lower half of the North Island. Oops, it's gone.
You want to do that?
Not too far, sorry. Okay, so just an aside, or part of it. Last festival we raised, in terms of grants and sponsorship, $42,000. Economic times are a bit tough these days, and so to date we've only been able to raise 15,000. Each festival up until this year, our major award was sponsored by Heinz Concrete, what do they call themselves? Unfortunately, their marketing budget has been cut, so ours was taken off the list. So we are looking for major sponsors. Because it's looking a bit slim, we've reduced the awards down from $18,250 down to $14,300. So we are looking at trimming our costs where we can. So it's early days yet, but hopefully we'll get to have a few more grants, sponsorship. Yeah, any questions?
Thank you, Tony. Open it up for questions. Anybody want to start? Alison?
Thank you, Tony. As you know, I've been to everyone
Yep.
so far and they've been fantastic, and I'm on one stall or other. And I know I really appreciate the amount of preparation that goes into this and the amount of people that it involves, and I'm sure it takes over your life for quite a period of time.
It does, yep.
More a comment. I notice on your trustees you've got a number of dairy farmers, and I'm sure we're all well aware Fonterra had a very large profit announced last year, last week. I wonder if it would be, because they have a grant, is it called the Grassroots Grant Fund?
Yes.
So I wonder if they would be worth approaching.
Well, I have tried in the past, but we will look at them again. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're looking at all businesses, yeah.
But it certainly is much tougher out there, and I guess too for the artists, the chances of them selling their work as much as it's appreciated and looks fantastic, if people haven't got the discretionary spending.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Last year, the major winner, their sculpture went for 13,000, I think it was, at auction, yeah. So, yeah, it was big.
Mm.
Fortunately, we had two people looking for it, so
Oh.
when you get two people bidding.
Yeah.
Just a question on that. So they sell their sculptures at the festival and then they make a profit themselves?
Okay, so when you enter a sculpture, you have the option of putting it for sale and putting a price on it, and it can be sold at the festival.
Mhm.
Or actually, this year we're going to say, we'll put it on our website for 30 days,
Mhm.
and it's an exclusivity clause.
Yeah.
So if it sells during that period, then it goes through our books. We'll get a commission of 20%.
Oh, that's pretty decent.
We also have an auction,
Mhm.
and we'll be selecting 5 sculptures to go into the auction.
Oh, okay. So
that's a live auction on the day.
and you select those rather than people?
We'll select those. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Any other questions? Karis?
Just a comment from me. It's pretty unusual for me to not have questions, Tony, but I just want to say thank you for putting together a really excellent proposal. And I think the Sculpture Festival is really important. So I was glad to see it on the list today.
Thank you very much.
All right. I think that's everything from us. Thank you very much. We will deliberate today and then we'll have an answer for you in a couple of weeks' time or so.
That's great.
But yeah, thank you very much and best luck with the festival.
Thank you very much. We'll catch you again. I hope you'll see you at the festival, if not before.
Yep. So I'll move that the meeting be adjourned. Sorry? Oh, I can just adjourn. Sweet. I will adjourn the meeting and we'll go for Okay. Let me say something specific to agenda, sorry. Okay. Resuming our meeting at 10:22. So,
Through you, Mr. Chair, in order of priorities, we start with the first priority, which is application number, where are we? Number 5 from the Kimbolton Arts and Sculpture Trust.
okay. Open it up to comments. Anybody got anything they want to say about this application? I think it was generally well supported by every one of us. Yep. I'll move that we accept, the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants the full amount, $5,000 to application 5, Kimbolton Arts Sculpture Festival. I'll move that. Has I got anybody to second it?
Excuse me, through
Oh,
you,
sorry.
Mr. Chairman, if you could please put in there to be funded from the
Oh, yep, sorry.
festivals grant.
So, sorry, so, do you want me to do the whole thing again or? Okay, all right. That the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $5,000 to application 5, the Kimbolton Arts Sculpture Festival, to be funded from the Creative New Zealand Festival Fund. Did I get it right that time? Sweet, all good. I'll move that. Is it anybody second it? Karis? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? That is carried.
The second priority application was that from Bahagia Samja Lower North Island Trust for Dawali.
Cool. Again, this one's pretty well supported across the board. I know that they've asked for quite a lot of money, so I'll open it up for discussion. Has anybody got any thoughts or comments?
Just a general comment.
Yep.
Are we sort of going to go through with a rough draft first, and are we able to go back and tweak by the time we get to the end when we see what it looks like?
I'll seek guidance. Were you able to do that? Like go through and make
Give
changes?
everything a nominal amount first, perhaps, and then if we get to the end, see what that looks like.
Okay, are we able to do that?
You can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It'll just mean that you probably, if you're going to do that, you can't adopt a motion and then you'd have to go back and put in a
Second motion.
yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
So the only way you can do it is just have a discussion
Okay.
and then go through the process of putting the figures in for a moving a resolution.
Okay. How we feel about that? Feel comfortable doing that?
I think it's the only way you can do it.
Okay, sweet. All right, so they have requested, how much was it? $13,050. Which is quite significant, but obviously we're aided by the festival grant fund or festival grant. So, has anybody got idea in their head of what they'd be comfortable with the festival receiving?
Just for your information, you've got $5,744.53 remaining from that festival fund.
Okay, so the,
how much?
$5,744.53,
But we could still
which
take a different amount out of the other bit.
you certainly can. but you can move a motion for that to be
Oh, okay.
festival
All right.
funding.
Yep.
And then do another motion for any additional funding that you wish to take out of the
Okay.
CCS.
I'll do that then. That sort of clears things up a little bit. So I'll move the motion that the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $5,744 to application 3, Diwali Festival of Lights, to be funded from the Creative New Zealand Festival Fund. Can I get a seconder?
Could you put the 53 cents in that too, please?
Oh, 53 cents, sorry.
That could be make or break.
Right, I'll do that again. That the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $5,744.53 to application 3, Diwali Festival of Lights, to be funded by the Creative New Zealand Festival Fund. I've moved. Karis, did you second? Yep. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. So then we go back to that application to see whether or not we want to give them any funding from the Creative Communities scheme itself.
Could I move that we fund them up to $10,000?
Up to $10,000?
The balance, so what's come from the fund that Creative Communities covers the balance up to $10,000.
Yep. Do we need to give the specific amount for that, Janine? Okay.
You've got 17,500 left. 17,500 just to give you an indicator.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I think what Karis is saying is that we will top that up to $10,000, what they've just been given. So that $5,744.53 will top that up to $10,000 with the Creative Community Scheme.
I suggest we top it up to by a round amount, keep it easy, like 5,300, which would make it, you want to say 4,300, which would make it $10,044, just to make it easy. Track.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Round figures.
Yeah, I like that.
We're just 47 cents hanging around.
Totally fine.
No, we haven't. Colin just put the suggestion forward that we move for that to be accepted or put forward for $4,300. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Which is close to the 10K that Karis. Yeah.
So, so the resolution is that the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $4,300 to application 3, Diwali Festival of Lights, from the Creative Communities. Sorry?
It's from the Creative Communities Fund. It's additional.
Did I just, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $4,300 to application 3, Diwali Festival of Lights, to be funded from the Creative Community Scheme. Cool. Can I get a mover?
It'll be you, eh, Colin?
Yeah.
Colin? A seconder?
Yep.
Kim, got in there. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried.
And that take.
Oh,
Okay, so the third application in order of priority will then go to application number 1, Building and District Art Society.
all art. Okay. I really like what they do for the community. I really like what they do as an organisation. but they have asked for quite a substantial amount of money, which is not feasible. But obviously I would like to support them with more money than they've asked for previously, but, yeah, the full amount we just can't do in my mind. Anybody got any thoughts to that?
Am I able to ask someone who's got the spreadsheet in front of them to calculate what the mean amount is of our recommended, of our recommendations?
So I'm going on calculating.
So I'm just wondering, with the amount that each advisor has recommended, what is the mean of that?
The dollar.
I can work it out.
Looks around the $7,000 mark.
Okay, how much were they requesting?
So between the 11,000, which is the close to the highest amount, to the 6, down to 5,000, the lowest, the median will be around 7.
So if my maths are right,
7.5.
I've got $8,048 and
What's the mean and what's the median?
Mm.
means when you divide it by the amount, isn't? Yeah.
Where's the median's bang?
That's maths beyond my abilities.
It's about 7.5.
7.5 is the median. Okay.
In between the highest value and the lowest value.
$8,048.
Okay. Should we say 7,500 then? Anybody unhappy with that?
Feels a bit low because then it's less than half. I
Hmm.
know that it's a lot of money, but then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Hmm.
If we're saying they're a top 3 application, but we're giving them less than half of the money, I don't know if that feels quite right.
I think I would understand that if they had asked for less money, but because I have asked for such a significant amount, out of all the applications, they're getting the second highest amount out of all of them. And Diwali is quite a significant festival with lots of overhead, so I understand that point, but I think given the tight constraints we have with funding, I would be comfortable with 7,500. I'd be comfortable going up a little bit higher, but I don't think too much higher than that.
I'd be comfortable with 7.5, otherwise it sort of says that you can just apply for a lot more.
Hmm.
And then, you know, and you rate high, then you get a
Yeah.
greater amount, so I'd support the 7.5.
Could we go into that $8,000 value that it was just over $8,000, wasn't it? The figure that you had earlier.
Yeah, that was for that was the mean, but I don't know. Somewhere in the middle, 7,750.
Definitely feels like it's the type of project that they can scale back.
Yeah.
Mm.
They can
Yeah.
run less classes.
Yeah, exactly. They do
Yeah.
fewer classes. Maybe they cut the
Mm.
snack budget.
Mm.
I guess through you too, Mr. Chair, the creative community should not have always be seen to be the main source of funding for these types of projects as well. So just bearing that in mind when you're considering these types of applications. I mean, as my previous conversation to you earlier is that on our application forms, it clearly states that the creative community schemes normally do not fund any more than 2,000. So in saying that, we are generously do that because of the level of funding that we've got and the level of applications. So we do tend to, as a rule, go over that 2K.
Mm.
But it's sending a message to the applicants that this shouldn't be their only source of funding.
Mm. Yep. Okay. I'll move then that The Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $7,500 to application 1, affordable art from the Creative Communities Scheme. Can I get a seconder for that? Alison, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
The next priority application is that of application 2, fielding and district promotion.
Cool. This one is varied, even though it, I think it's generally well supported, but yeah, we get some discrepancies in what people think about it. I'll open it up to discussion. Karis, I see you had some questions around not having local performers.
I know that's not the criteria, but
Mm.
it's, yeah, I was hoping that, during the presentations, they might, put a little bit more focus on how this is, I think the phrase that was used in the application was it was the meaningful engagement with the arts. I wasn't sure from either the application or the presentation that that was quite true. It really seemed to be about generating numbers to the Christmas parade, and having an economic development outcome. And I guess it's like what we were talking about earlier. Even though that's not necessarily what the criteria stipulates, what's the message that we want to send about engaging community in local arts activities that encourage creativity versus just getting crowds to look at something.
Yep.
And so I guess that's why I'm a little bit lower than everyone else in the scoring. I don't think that it would, I think that it's really well written as an application, and that fielding a district promotion have the personnel to deliver it. But to me, it doesn't have that same community led aspect that some of the other applications do.
Yep, I can accept that.
I think it's so that you've really got a situation where it's something new. So, you know, so I would have preferred that they tell it how it was rather than sort of fluff it up and sort of state something that they can't really substantiate.
Well, Ben, can I just?
Yep.
I think if they didn't get all the funding that they were after, they could run one performance and not two. And
Yeah.
probably that would be the morning one, the 11 o'clock one.
Yep. You can.
I just done some maths and the medium amount is 3,800-ish.
Just bearing in mind as well, we have 5,000.
Getting tight.
So how much was it?
5,872.
Oh, we got 6,700.
That makes it really hard.
We've got a bit more left.
Okay.
I guess we need to take in consideration the advertising that comes off that in budget, which might not be in yours.
No, we were just looking at the 17.5.
Yeah, 17.5, yeah,
Take off
7.5.
and the 5, no. And then amount for the Diwali.
Which was 4.3. Yes, 5.7. Oops, it was 17.5, took off 7.5 or 11. Take off 4.3, just about 5.7.
Okay. All right. I'm comfortable with 3,800 as put forward by Kim. Does anybody want to push on that? Reduce or push higher? Okay, shall we put that forward as a motion then, Kim? 3,800? Okay. So I move that the Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $3,800 to application 2, Circus Barbecue Show from the Creative Community Scheme. Moved by Kim. Seconded by Colin.
Yes.
All those in favour, say aye. Against? Carried.
Okay, our next priority is application number 6, Woolly Blessings Knitting Club Senson.
How much was left, sir?
2072. Yeah,
Okay.
my maths is, you can see it up there, there's the advertising taken off, and that bigger total is including the festival fund as well, so that deducts as I do that, so that should be accurate.
Right. Yep.
That's all, it's okay.
Cool. So Woolly Blessings, they've asked for $2,000, and just looking at where we're sitting, we're actually sitting probably somewhere in the middle of that. Oh, Karis, you changed your score, didn't you? Sorry. It was 2s across the board. Did you have a suggested amount for them?
Based on where everyone else has advised, I think it would be fair to fund this group 50% of what they've thought.
Yeah. I'm comfortable with that. $1,000.
Based on the application, it seems like they should still be able to deliver a reasonable product
Yep.
with that money.
Anybody else want to debate or deliberate on that?
Anyway, it was $1,000.
$1,000, yeah. Okay, did you want to make the motion on that one?
Yeah, I will move that the Creative Communities Assessment Panel funds $1,000 to applicant 6 for their project, A Journey Through Knitting for Charity exhibition.
Cool, I'll second that. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against?
I'd like to abstain, thanks.
Oh, you like to abstain?
I'd like to abstain for the reason that whatever I said on this figure, it is X amount of money for a conflict going forward. So I wish to abstain for that reason.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, no, that makes sense.
So we've got 1,070.
Cool.
If you like your
Yeah, just.
Okay,
Okay, our final priority is application number 4, Huanui Community Committee.
yes, okay, so is this where I discuss what happened in the presentation? With the, yeah, okay, so I'm trying to remember how to phrase this. Tracy has spoken to Colin, who kindly offered to partly fund the boards at our last meeting back in April, and has asked to repurpose the funding that Colin was putting forward so that the application this time could have more of an arts focus, because that was the concerns that we had last time. And Colin has agreed to that. Because of that, he's notified a conflict of interest, and therefore you won't be voting on this, is that right? Yep, cool. So we've taken the mean score from everybody's assessments on that, and given them the mean score. So they're asking for $800. We have $1,000 left, so I'll open it up for discussion.
I'm happy to support them.
Mhm.
$800, and then possibly we could redirect that little bit that's left over to one of the other applications.
Mhm.
I'd like to support them.
Okay. Would you, anybody else want to discuss first before I put a motion forward? Okay, did you want to make that motion, Alison?
I haven't got the words in
Oh,
front of
okay,
me,
that's
but
right.
you can read it.
I can do it, yeah, yeah. That
on my
the, that the Creative Communities Committee, Creative Communities Assessment Committee grants $800 to application for installation of history boards through the Creative Community Scheme. Get a mover, Alison, and Kim seconded. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried.
$272.
$272 left. Okay. So we can put it to something else, or we can carry it over to the next one, can't we? Carry it over to the next application round? Okay. Yep.
I think we should use it rather than carry over.
Mhm.
I would feel comfortable putting it towards the Fielding and District Art Society classes,
Mm-hmm.
but happy to hear what others would like.
Yep.
I would support that.
Okay.
So then we'll need to amend that figure for the,
Do we amend the motion or do we pass a new motion?
Need to know in a minute.
Okay.
when I hear what the new figure would be, I can do that if you like.
$7,772.
How much? 7,000?
7,700.
No cents?
Any sense?
No
No
sense.
sense at all.
So
I got plenty of dollars, but no cents.
So I'd like to move an amendment to the previous motion that the dollar figure be increased to $7,772.
From. To.
$1,772.
Can I suggest something?
Mhm.
And put in there all the remainder of the funds available, so we've made an error, then it'll sweep it up, but they also have to come back and.
Well, that would just depend, because if one of the applicants decided not to run their event, say like Fielding and District Promotion said, then we're basically saying they can have Fielding and District. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Because sometimes it does happen that
That's it.
the project doesn't happen for whatever
So
reason.
moved by Alison and seconded by, do we have a seconder? It's Karis. All those in favour, say aye. Against? Carried. Excellent. Thank you, team. Thank you for your efforts. It was actually comparatively, it was probably easier than the last one we had because it was. No, I know. I've got, yeah, I'm just congratulating everybody on a quick appraisal.
Well, I think it's good that we've got good templates.
Yes. But we've been able to fund everybody this time, which is good. Yeah.
And it's nice to see COVID is but just where people are confident to run things.
Yeah.
Because it was challenging. It had a plan B and we had plan C and.
Oh, there was so many plans coming out my ears for comedy events I was running. It's just like,
I think the convulsion event could still not happen, it's quite a challenge, it's quite a leap for them to find that funding shortfall.
hmm.
You think that they have enough no reputation now that it's going to get us. Well, this is.
Yep.
And that's. Business times out there at the moment, but I'm sure there could be us. Maybe from the wider northern middle to, community, $1,000.
So I'm just gonna move that the public be excluded from the following parts of the proceedings of this meeting, namely the application to join the Creative Communities Assessment Committee. Can I get a mover for that?
I will move.
You'll move. Seconder? Kim, awesome. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried.
Yeah, it was